I'll introduce you a little bit about what we have done here at E4M. We have created a new platform as a subset of E4M called MarTechAI.com. I am editorially heading it. Anupama is co-managing it editorially. It's a subset of E4M, owned by E4M, but being handled separately. So we just bought the domain. On 5th June, we launched the website. We did a MarTech mixer. We called in a lot of senior mark. We did it in Gurgaon. We'll do it in Mumbai as well. We'll do it in Bangalore as well. From 5th of June, since the launch till date, we have more than 55,000 visitors on the website. So,
Congratulations.
Thank you. So of course, there is E4M's legacy, which is behind us, but people are really responding to what we are doing. So we have interviewed the likes of Scott Brinker, David Raab.
Oh, nice.
Anyway, so this is the background. We'll put this, of course, on E4M as well, and MarTechAI.com. So we'll put it on both the platforms. But most of the conversation will be around MarTech and AI and the application of technology and AI in that. So can we
Sounds
start?
good. Yeah, sounds good. And congratulations on this new initiative. Good domain name, by the way. MarTech AI. It's a .com, huh? No, it's not .in. Wow,
.com.
very good. That's a good one.
Yeah, we were lucky enough to get it before it could be captured.
Good, great. I would love to own that domain because MarTech is now AI basically, and
Yeah,
and the next phase of MarTech is AI. So excellent.
absolutely. Okay, so I think we have started on the right note. The next phase of marketing is AI. However, most marketers today are selling AI under the garb of automation. I keep asking this to all of all the marketers I interview, but you are an expert. Where are we today in terms of intelligence in marketing? Last year we had, according to the Scott Brinker report, we were at 14,000 plus tools globally. This year we are at 15,000 plus tools globally. And, there are so many tools, lying in the market. Finding the right tool, for the companies, like finding a needle in the haystack. So now I'm seeing most companies are, creating their own tools. So what is the status quo like? What is happening in the field? If you could just guide us through.
I mean, it's been almost a decade of astounding speed of technology getting into marketing, right? And hence we have MarTechAI.coms as properties because it's a field now of its own, right? In my view, this new age is even more exciting because now it is left to the imagination of the marketeer or the customer experience champion to do what they want to do with multiple tools together. There used to be a time when it was about a tool choice, right? Not anymore. Not anymore. Because in the age of AI, you now use multiple tools together. If you see in your personal life, you use Perplexity to search for something, and then save it in a Google notebook, and then you run queries on top of it, right? So you was already stitching in your personal life multiple tools together, right? So similarly in MarTech, people will start stitching tools together, is my view. And it is the age where coding has become now easy, right? So a lot of people will build their own wrappers on top of MarTech, and which people couldn't do earlier. So you could tie a Facebook ad manager to even your Google's search console. I don't know. It sounds weird, but now some people will do it. And will be able to build their customer apps. So the age has come where there will be 14,000, 15,000, 16,000 branded off-the-shelf tools, but there will be millions of marketeer or marketing technologist crafted tools which will be built and managed by everyone, in my view, right? So we're in that age. At the same time, the base tools do matter because that's your foundation. But on top of that, will be left to your imagination. Yeah.
And I think that has given the rise to the designation of MarTech. So, experts like yourself, designations which did not exist. But my question is, doesn't that make it all the more complex for marketers? Because, as tools get hoarded, a lot of data also gets hoarded, right? Uh, in fact, in the morning, during my interview with, Anjali, I shared a specific example wherein I was going through my Instagram feed and suddenly I'm shown an advertisement of BMW. So BMW thinks that I'm in their segment, that I'm a segment customer for them, and then suddenly I'm shown a car which is in the 5 to 10 lakh rupee bracket, and they also think that I'm their customer. So point is that there's so much data coming in that sometimes it becomes overcomplicated for marketers, and a customer's journey kind of becomes also complicated. So what is the solution to that?
See, my view is a very, very philosophical one. Is that if you see a great restaurant, if you see a great hotel, and where you get great service,
Mm,
front end is seamless and simple and clean and neat, and but you'll see there are a lot of heavy lifting, a lot of work, a lot of sweat and blood is behind the scenes, right? So customer experience is no different. If you want amazing customer experience, you have to deal with complexity in the back end. You have to customize over on top of what the base MarTech tools do for
mm,
you. Because see, as a brand and as a brand that is competing in the market, there's very few brands which are monopolies, right? If you're competing in the market, you add complexity to your MarTech, your data, your ability to orchestrate those two to get ahead of the competition. That's your secret sauce. If you're going to say, I'm going to make a plain vanilla secret sauce, just tomato and some garlic and some onion and make ketchup, I will not make Heinz, right? There has to be some secret sauce. It is going to take rigor, it is going to take complexity. And that is how you get advantage against your competition. So, this whole idea, I think, is a misnomer that MarTech will be simple. It will never be simple. If you want to beat your competition, your MarTech better be complicated. So that's how you get the edge. Because that's something that the complexity your competition cannot beat. So that's your advantage. So forget about it being simple ever if you want to be a market leader.
so is your statement giving us insights into what HDFC Bank is doing? Is the stack very complex?
Um, uh, I mean, humbly saying this that HDFC Bank is a very large organization and it really does care for its customers. And we have to work very hard given the scale at which we work to get things right. Sometimes we do goof up, which is, being a large organization does happen.
Hmm.
But it takes a lot to build something for such a large, diverse, and old organization, right? So yes, it is complex, but it is driven through passion for customers. It is driven through doing the best that we can for a market of financial services, right? So that's where it comes from. So it's very complicated, but at the same time, it's something that we would love to be challenged with. And yes, we do it on a daily basis.
So, very interesting thing comes to my mind. I mean, for that large an organization like HDFC, which has been in the market since so long and almost holds a monopoly over customers in India, I am sure the the importance doesn't go to new customer acquisition. So, where does the investment in technology in marketing go? How do you make, is it into making the customer experience better, or is it still getting the new customer out, which is out there?
I think banking in general is all about keeping your most valuable customers with you for decades, for
True.
decades, right? That's the name of the game in financial services. So it is about marketing is about reacting to customer needs. In my view, it's not so much. Of course, there is a communication aspect to it. There is a timeliness manner to it. There's a channel management aspect to it. But it all comes together to delight the customer, which makes them want to stick with you, right?
Hmm.
And make them want to think that look, these guys really care, or this bank really cares for me, right? And they want to make things simple for me. So that's where we come from. It's about customer experience that eventually leads to business, that eventually leads a customer to open the website or the app and say, look, I want to see what HDFC Bank is up to, right?
Hmm.
So that it is, and that's a function of a great customer experience, not just digital, not just marketing, what the branch is doing, what your relationship manager is doing, right? All that adds up because then if a relationship manager is doing well, then you open the
Hmm.
app and say, look, let me see what HDFC Bank is doing. I'm very happy with the guy who calls me once in a while and say and checks up on me, right? So on and so forth. It's all connected in my view, and yeah, CX definitely leads it. Marketing is slowly turning into more of a CX function because so much of CX is digital, and so much of digital is actually marketing impacted, right? So that's where we are sitting today, in my view.
Hmm. No, but so I've been a customer of HDFC for a decade now, more than a decade. And what I personally found was that it wasn't until past couple of years that HDFC really, made their app better, or really started to improve the digital customer experience, which banks like the newer age banks like IDFC or RBL have done extremely well, right? They made it very easy for online account opening, etc. Do you think HDFC missed that bus and came into that very late, or was it a planned strategy? I mean, the Pays app didn't shoot off as it wanted to, as you would guys have would have wanted to. Where, where was the gap there?
I think HDFC Bank. I think we are in the category. We make very uh, well thought through moves in terms of where we invest
Hmm.
and so on and so forth. So you'll see that in how everything is coming together now, right? You will see our new mobile banking app. You will see our new net banking. You will see a new website. So we have done a lot of investment, and it is coming through as you rightly said, slowly and steadily. It is not just intentional move to invest big. It is also our intent that that competition tends to be a little more nimble when they are smaller, right? But for a large bank, if you look at anyone that is the size of HDFC Bank, they will think through things and take time to do things because it does take time to maneuver around. It is not a lack of intention or customer lack of customer focus. There's none of that. It just takes time to get change done because banking is a very highly regulated industry also. So you can't just one day wake up and say I will change everything. You do it nimbly. There's also a customer base. Some people are used to the way of working that the bank works. So you don't have to change that as well also very dramatically. But yeah, but I think it's a very, very well stated strategy that will do things slow and will do things right rather than jump into things. So that's the philosophy of HDFC Bank.
Uh, so I was speaking to Raj Rishi Singh of Make My Trip and Mr. Chandan Mukherjee of Nestle, and both of them said that about 20 to 25% of the marketing budgets are now going into technology, MarTech, so to say. Where is HDFC there? I mean, what percentage? I'm not asking the exact budget, but what percentage of that marketing budget is now going into tech?
Well, it's hard to put a number on it because we do so many diverse things. Even an activation in your neighborhood where we tell you about HDFC Bank branch that is open near you is also a marketing spend. So putting a percentage is a little unfair. But at the same time, I can tell you the growth rates are very huge
Hmm.
because of the fact that uh, a lot of customers have also gone digital, right? And we have intentionally invested, right? So if the customer is going digital, your spends on digital are automatically going to increase. And that's what it is about MarTech also. It is at the same time hugely ROI uh, led, right? So we don't invest where there is no ROI either, right? It's not just a mad, hoarding of tools and capabilities. It is well thought through, and it is growing very fast, almost doubling every. I don't know. I would say every 3 years it would double. Is what number I would ballpark number I would throw at you. So yeah, so it's a big investment everyone is doing, and not just us, is my view. I mean, that I'm sure you know the numbers of the market. So yeah, we are no different than the market actually.
So, as somebody who is an expert in marketing technology, where are we in terms of and I'm not talking about HDFC in general, I'm talking about in general. Where are we in terms of empathy intelligence? Uh, you know, I very recently interviewed the CMO of Amdocs, and he talked about something called personality engineering. Uh, then Mr. Jagdish Mitra, who now was formerly with Tech Mahindra, now owns his own company called Humanize Tech, also talked about empathy intelligence. Where are we generally in terms of that, in mapping a customer's psychology as well?
I think in terms of psychology, what banks typically end up doing is be able to tell about a need that is arising in your life. So if you suddenly start saving up money in your account, we know that you are probably trying to uh, just about start saving for retirement. Let's say 5 years, there's nothing in your account, suddenly it starts accumulating. Then we say, okay, you've reached that stage where you lived life kind of on the edge, had fun now, but you settled down, maybe got a wife, maybe having a baby, started saving money. So it's very apparent to a bank, right? So
Absolutely.
we are able to discern some of this stuff with data science and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
Where empathy, like you said, comes in is where we work hard to put you in a particular category and see how we can benefit you.
Hmm.
It is not about so there's intelligence and there's empathy, right? Intelligence is being able to apply data science to say this person has started saving money, it's sitting in his account, and can you advise him about investments, right?
Hmm.
Empathy comes when we can inspire you with the right communication that hits your demographic, whether you are young at heart, whether you are self-employed, who's a little conservative, so on and so forth. So these flavors is something we add to convince you to invest if you are of that type of person who's now saving up money. So that's where I think we stand, and I think the idea behind that is that the more financial advice we give you to do the right things in your financial life, the longer you will stay with us. That we've realized now with data is that it is not about um, that the usage of a credit card. It's about uh, having you around for the credit card, for the savings account, for your child's account, for your wife's account, and for your retirement plan. Because now there's so much data that we can actually chart this together and then follow you around along with it. So that's where even the marketing sort of philosophy is veering towards.
And that brings me to my next question. And I went through your interview with ET, where you have talked about the thin line between personalization and data privacy. uh, you know, uh, Third party cookies were almost phased off. I mean, they are not anymore. I mean,
Yeah.
Google backtracked on that, thankfully for a lot of people. But, where are we? India is trying to make very strong laws. I mean, DPDP, is already in force, and the conversations are happening each day on how to make stronger laws in terms of consumer privacy. Almost all marketers I talk to have confessed that there comes a line where they have crossed that and looked into a customer's data, life profile using data. Uh, what is that thin line that doesn't needs to be crossed, and where are we in terms of that?
See, the thin line is do not do. I mean, it's not a thin line. It's again, it's a little bit of a philosophical answer. But you should not do unto others what you wouldn't want, done unto you. Right? That's essentially it. Bottom line, it's common sense. This is the thing that's complex about it. Right? There are many ways to do good marketing. There's many ways to do data science. There are many ways to do marketing orchestration. whilst ensuring that you don't breach privacy, that you don't take data without consent, and then put it to use. So we were the first ones to put cookie consent, right? Cookie consent is still actually DPDP is still not applicable. If you see, it is still they'll give us a window to comply to the right to forgets of the world. But HDFC Bank had some, I think 4 years ago, a consent for cookie, which was only applicable in Europe, GDPR and CCP in California, right? But we already had it on our website. Why? Because we believe in customer privacy consent, and giving the customer the right to choose, right? So this is a sensible thing to do. What line one should never cross as a marketeer is never put profits before the customer, right? That's another lens to look at it. Just because that's why people make mistakes sometimes. That is how every marketer has admitted. Why does that happen? Because they say, no, I will achieve my next target because of this new hack that I've discovered. Now, you'd
Hmm.
always think that that hack that you've discovered will it put your organization to disrepute, right? And that is the common sense thing you must ask yourself. Short term gains are not worth it. Short term, taking a list from open market and sending them a blast is, classic. Some marketeers do in younger organizations, smaller organizations. Large organizations will never allow it, right? So these are classic mistakes marketeers make. But the short term gain is not worth it, and obviously it does not get results also if you really see, right? So yeah, it's common sense in my view, and marketers need to be mature enough to apply common sense.
Hmm. Uh, Now in organizations, like HDFC or let's say Hero, there are MarTech heads, right? But for organizations who don't have it, who owns the stack? And I'm sure there would be a lot of friction between a CIO, a CTO, and a CMO. And then, all of them are reporting to the CEO, and all of them have a say in the stack. All of them have a certain indulgence in the stack. So where does the buck lie today? Who is the new marketer? Is he the CIO, the CTO, or the pressure is increasingly going on the CMO who used to have a very psychologically driven job to now a very metric driven job?
I think it is very much like saying who owns the customer. Let me put a different lens on top of it. Who owns the customer? Is it the product manager? Like if let's say Hero, let's say you are the product manager for uh, a model of a bike, right?
Hmm.
And then you will say, I do market research, I build the bike. Basis my market research, it goes to the assembly line, then it goes to market. So I own the customer. Marketer says, no, I own the customer because I talk to the customer. My communication talks to the customer. Right? Obviously, the CTO will say, boss, buy robots, build the bike on the assembly line basis, the research done by the product manager,
Hmm.
and so on and so forth. But how does Hero make money? Hero makes money when the robots churn out bikes at a very good cost. So they make margins. The product design is excellent, that it has good durability in the market. And the marketing communications guy make sure the test drives happen for that bike that is fabulous once it is in the market. So you'll notice everyone owns the customer because it all comes together. Similarly, for MarTech, is my view that it is something. It is because digital has it's MarTech is nothing but a digital tool, right? It is data and being able to act upon data, right? If the customer has gone digital, then who has the right to collect data and act upon data and make that process better? For the customer, everyone. That's the challenge with MarTech actually. No one really knows.
Exactly.
No one really knows where does it sit. But at the same time, if you look at someone like myself, I talk to everyone. I will talk to a CDO, CIO, CMO. Essentially, I report to everyone, right? There's a concept of dotted lines, right? And whether you are on the tech side or whether you are on, whether if you're on the tech side, you
Hmm.
also report to the CMO. If you're on the CMO side, you also report to the CIO. If you report to CDO, you also report to the remaining two. So it is actually a great position to be in because you can really influence organization through great leaders, which is not a bad thing actually, right? So it's not a dark, bad thing that where there's competition amongst leaders. No, not at all. You get to work with everyone, which is actually great. That's my view.
The omni-channel marketer.
Yeah,
Reporting
omni CXO.
only CXO.
Oh, the omni. Yeah, you're the C. Great definition. You are the CXO enabler. You enable every CXO, including the CFO, because
Hmm.
if you can help get more customers, which MarTech today can, because it makes your marketing machine so agile and frictionless and operate at scale, you can delight the CFO also, right? So you are the CXO enabler. I mean, I think that's a great thing. I think we should not worry about where does it sit. As long as, if let's say if you are a MarTech property, martechai.com is for MarTech enthusiasts. So if you are a MarTech enthusiast, you should think, boss, that's great. I get to work with everyone. I get to learn from a lot of great leaders. That's a great thing in my view.
I think we have almost covered everything we had to. Uh, just my final question on skills. I think after a long time we have seen a space which is changing so dynamically. It's almost very hard to keep up with the skills required. Uh, Marketers today need to be coders. They need to be data scientists, right? And it was not the case earlier. So and I'm sure there's a skill gap. We did a webinar on it as well, and everybody agreed to the fact that there's a skill gap. How do we fill that? And especially with every year there are 2,000 new tools being added, and as you are saying that the back end of the stack is becoming increasingly complex. How do we bridge that skill gap? How should the ecosystem look at it?
I think I've thought about it for the last decade, last almost decade, right? I got started early in MarTech. Now, how the world is approaching it is very interesting, right? Some people say it's a very technical job, okay, but
Hmm.
some people say no, it is customer facing, so it has to be a little bit more imaginative, little more creative, right? Again, just like who owns MarTech, it is not about the marketer knowing everything. You can't be knowing communication, you can't be knowing data science, you can't be knowing how to do Illustrator, Photoshop, you can't be knowing how to operate a campaign system, can't know how to do implementation, data
Hmm.
layer, reporting. So there are various different skills. I think we are in the age of hyper personalization. So it is the marketer cannot wear different hats beyond a certain point,
Hmm.
but there will be marketeers wearing different hats in a team, right? We spoke about a very apt example actually on this conversation. Hero, right? Hero is a bike manufacturer, right? So they have assembly line. So there's one guy who's only fitting the tire. There's one guy who's only putting the headlight. There is
Hmm.
one guy who's only testing the electronic system. There is one guy who's only looking at tires, right? But at the end, the bike is fabulous, right? So there will be hyper specialization, and in the assembly line, people will hand off some parts of the customer experience to each other to build the customer journey at the end of it. So I think we should not worry too much about one marketeer knowing everything. But in the marketing team, we should have various skill sets and different hats that you can tell them apart. This is my data science person. This is my guy who's fabulous on the marketing tool. This is my guy who is brilliant in communication,
Hmm.
right? And there is a great campaign where all of these guys come together, they hand off to each other, and the end product comes together, right? So yeah, so don't try to teach every marketer everything is my view. Please don't burden the communications guy with technology. That we will just you will make. I mean, that's not the right thing to do, right? Or vice versa, right? So a techie, a nerd will be a nerd. I mean, don't make him to learn creative. That's not the right thing to do, right?
Don't make him a journalist.
So exactly. So you're a journalist. I can't become a journalist, right? I love reading, but I definitely can't churn out think great pieces to read like you, right? And so and so forth. So you're not a nerd, so you can't do like some weird connecting of the wires under the hood. Maybe it doesn't interest you, but we can still have a conversation, right? So yeah, so that's how it is. Different types of people can still connect, do great work, and not one person should have to know everything.
I think we have gotten great content for the interview. If you would, not mind giving us a great data-led title as well for the interview. So you can share any insight, any data, which HDFC has sprouted up in terms of a customer's journey or anything, you think is very relevant today, would be relevant for the audience.
I think one data point that I'll give you is it still blows my mind, right? Is that I have been doing MarTech for more than a decade, maybe 15 years, maybe even 20 years. I started using Google Analytics in 2005 when it actually came out. It's been exactly 20 years, right? Now, what I noticed over more than a decade in banking is that there was a time when you could do overlap of a website visitor to a lead in the CRM. So who comes to your website first before ending up in the CRM? Because some guys will call the call center directly, right? Some guys will walk into the branch directly and they'll end up in the CRM. So this number used to be 20% about a decade or so ago. Post pandemic, this number is somewhere around 80%. So anyone who's going to want a product from a brand, 80% of the times they will look for the brand online, or they'll download the brand's app, or they will go to the search them on YouTube or for a video, what have you, right? So this digital exploration before going to a brand is humongously more digital. And what that means for MarTech is that this intelligence suddenly sits in Google Analytics, which is shocking, right? Which no one is thinking. Not a big CIO is thinking. I need to ensure Google Analytics is something I leverage in the next quarter or the next year. But that is where a lot of this intelligence of customer need, want, desires is sitting today. So that number, keep that in mind. So 80% of any brand's customers go to their website, app, or search them on YouTube or similar behavior before they actually go to the store. And how do you leverage this information? This customer footprint is something people should think about.
Yeah, but I think that is also being challenged because now a lot of customers are not even going to Google or a website.
Absolutely.
They're taking a completely different route. Generative AI has completely taken over, giving a big challenge to the biggest search engines of the world. I'm reminded of another question, but I think we are on time, and I don't want to bog you down. And perhaps the next time we sit, we can have a longer conversation on agentic AIs as well. And I think that will open a whole Pandora's box of questions, and hence I'm not going into that because I wouldn't want to spoil your Friday. So thank you, Deepak, for giving us your time. We've shared some amazing insights, and we'd love to, have you again on the platform in your physical presence as well. And thank you again.
Yeah, thank you, Bridge. Thank you so much. And
Yeah,
great to be on martecai.com.
yeah,
Wonderful. Thank
that'll
you.
be a pleasure and thanks for your insights. It was pretty great.
Hey, thanks, guys. Thank you so much.